Hi, it's Ryan from Atlassian. Wow, we've covered a lot during the course of these tutorials. Mia and I have explored how teams come together to manage software development projects. Moreover, we've seen how these projects use Jira software to be successful. Before we finish the course, let's walk through Jira from start to finish and put it all together. Many software development teams work in short 2 to 4 week sprints and manage these sprints using a Scrum board. Let's see it again. To get started in Jira software, we created a Scrum software development project named Mobile Development for Teams in Space. Jira automatically created a Scrum board for us. We covered all the details of creating a new project in Tutorial 2, Creating a Project. Next, we looked at workflows. Jira automatically associated a simplified workflow with our new project. We saw that this workflow had 3 statuses: To Do, In Progress, and Done. And the new board had 3 columns that corresponded: To Do, In Progress, and Done. We saw how easy it was to add a new column, QA, by configuring the board. We created a new column, made sure the correct status was mapped to it, and positioned it to correspond to the correct order in the workflow. The key point here was to recognize that creating the QA column also created a new status in the workflow. To summarize, we can create additional statuses in the workflow by simply adding new columns. To see more details about workflows, revisit Tutorial 3, Configuring Workflows and Columns. Now let's keep going. Once we had our board, we looked at 2 ways to view and organize the issues, using quick filters and swim lanes. Jira automatically creates 2 quick filters, Only My Issues and Recently Updated, which are listed across the top of the board. Quick filters allow you to view only the issues you need in the moment, but they don't permanently change the look of your board. Swim lanes are a more permanent adjustment. Use swim lanes to group specific issues together horizontally on your board, like this. To see more details on quick filters and swim lanes, revisit Tutorial 4, Quick Filters and Swim Lanes. Next, we created issues and populated our board. Remember, issues are your work and are containers for all the data you want to associate with that work item. Issues are a powerful organization tool. Let's review how we created an issue. We created it and assigned it the story issue type. Then we added other data. Next, we saw how useful card colors can be for visually distinguishing cards. Configure card colors in the board configuration screen. And select the card attribute and its color. To see all the details about issues and card colors, revisit Tutorial 5, Creating an Issue. We saw how to add more data to an issue during its life cycle. The Issue Detail pane and Edit Issue screen are the main tools for adding more to issues. Next, we saw how to attach files to an issue. We did that either by navigating directly to the file in the file system or dragging and dropping the files on the attachments box. We closed this section with a look at collaboration. Remember, you can lasso in another person for a one-time opinion with an @mention, or you can add yourself or others to the watcher list so they're notified about every change in the issue. To see more details, revisit Tutorial 6, Building Up Your Issue. We then went on to prioritizing issues and estimating the amount of effort it took to complete each. We saw that the product owner prioritizes issues in the backlog and that the team works in priority order through those issues as sprints are worked on. Let's look at how we did it. We prioritized the issues through simple drag and drop, putting them in priority order, highest priority being at the top of the backlog. Nothing complex about that. To see more details on prioritizing and estimating, revisit Tutorial 7, Prioritizing and Estimating. Moving on, we saw how to create and work through sprints. Here's how we did it. First, we created a sprint. Then we selected the issues for the new sprint and moved them into the sprint backlog. We started the sprint, named it, and identified its duration. That got the sprint going. To see more details on creating and starting a sprint, revisit Tutorial 8, Starting a Sprint. We saw that issues are living objects in Jira. You can and should modify them during their life cycle. We saw how you can add comments, additional attachments, and change assignees at any time. To see more details on updating issues, revisit Tutorial 9, Updating Issues. Let's continue. As you work on an issue, you move it through the workflow. Let's review what we did. Drag the issue from one column to another. The board tells you which columns are legal destinations. Those columns turn blue. When you move issues from one column to the next, the issue automatically moves through the mapped statuses in the underlying workflow. To see more details about working on issues, revisit Tutorial 10, Transitioning Issues. Next, we finish our sprint. Once all issues are complete, or the sprint timeframe expires, we end the sprint. To do this, we go to the active sprint board and click Complete Sprint. Any uncompleted issues return to the top of the product backlog for inclusion in a future sprint. To review details on finishing a sprint, revisit Tutorial 11, Finishing an Active Sprint. After the active sprint completes, the team assesses the work done using Jira's reports. We looked at 3 of the heavy hitters: the burn down chart, sprint report, and velocity chart. To view in more detail many of Jira's popular reports, revisit Tutorial 12, Using Reports. In these tutorials, you've seen how to create and use a simple Scrum board. This should get you started. As you use Jira more for your production projects, you'll most likely need to customize aspects of the project. For example, you may need a more robust workflow with additional statuses and conditions. In fact, you may use multiple workflows in a project. You'll also probably want to create custom issue types, and you'll need to use JQL to create custom filters and queries, both for displaying the issues you want and for general searches. And don't forget Kanban boards. They may be just the solution for certain types of work your team does. Finally, you want to get familiar with all the reports Jira offers. They are an important tool for you to communicate status and to plan further. If you need deeper training on how to use or administer Jira software, be sure to visit Atlassian's website. We offer live hands-on training as well as recorded versions of those classes. They're an excellent way to learn what you need to get the most from Jira software. In these tutorials, you've seen how to use Jira throughout the Scrum development process. You've looked at 2 phases of the process. For the planning phase, you saw how to create issues, estimate and prioritize them as you build a product backlog. For the development phase, you saw how to run a sprint, move issues through the workflow, and report on progress. The release phase wasn't covered in these tutorials, but watch for future tutorials on the topic. Throughout your development process, you can gain insight on your progress using reports to better understand where your development efforts went and how to plan for future sprints. Remember, if you ever want to revisit a topic or access the full set of tutorials, they're always available. Also, be sure to check out the Atlassian blogs, available at blogs.atlassian.com for more great resources. Thanks for joining us. We hope these tutorials will get you up and running quickly with your software projects. Be sure to let us know what you think.